seen any of the pictures and the videos that I have taken.
Sarah. What's your name? Don't wear it up.
I don't want to watch it. I don't know if y'all have looked through my phone yet and seen any of the pictures and the videos that I have taken.
Well, unfortunately for Sarah Boone, investigators had, and they're now about to confront her with video recordings she has no recollection of taking, only 48 hours prior.
Sarah. That's my name. Don't wear it up.
Sarah. I don't want to watch it, please.
In this video recording taken just 48 hours prior, Sarah is heard taunting her partner, Jorge Torres Jr, as he asphyxiates to death inside of a suitcase. Forensic evidence would later suggest that George was trapped inside the suitcase for up to 11 hours before his death. And forensic evidence would later suggest that George, while inside this suitcase, at some point was taken to the top of the staircase and thrown down it. The body cam footage you're about to see is taken by one of the officers as she arrives first at the scene.
What's going on? I just got here, so fill me in.
No problem. Like, he and I were putting a puzzle together. We've been doing some artwork together.
You are putting a puzzle together?
Yes, we have a puzzle that we started in there.
Okay.
We've been doing art, trying to take the stuff off the wall to make new art put up there, like having a good time with one another. But we're drinking. We had a bottle of wine last night.
Okay. Fine.
So then it's like, we decided to play hide and seek, right?
Okay.
So he gets in the suitcase. Okay.
Who is this guy?
That's my ex-husband, my former husband.
How did he live here with you guys?
No, I called him over here.
Okay, okay.
I didn't know what to do.
Okay.
I didn't know what to do.
Okay.
So then he came over here.
Here, let's talk in private, okay?
I called you guys. I tried giving him CPR. The problem is I fell asleep. I fell asleep.
When did you do CPR?
This morning, when I found him.
Before you called?
Yes!
It's 1 o'clock right now.
I tried. I was awake, but I actually got out of the bed at like 12:30ish, whatever. So I came downstairs, and I was like, oh, he's in the suitcase still. And that's when I found him, and I took him out, and I tried doing CPR, and then I called him, and then I called you guys.
Did he get here before the fire department got here?
Who?
Your husband? Or
yes.
Your ex-husband?
Yes.
Okay. Where does he live at?
Right down the street.
Okay. So you were playing, and who zipped him up in?
I did, okay. But then I fell asleep.
Okay, okay. You're okay. I wasn't here. I'm just trying to figure out what happened.
I fell asleep, so I don't know if he suffocated or like had an aneurysm or a heart attack or what.
What kind of medical conditions does he have?
None that I know of. But like, I don't, like, this was totally like not intentional.
His age, no real medical history that
I
we
know of.
For him to have passed away, we come out and
I
we
know.
do an investigation.
Yeah.
We come out and do an investigation.
The day after Sarah's partner's body is found, she drives on down to the Orange County Sheriff's Office. She believes that she is there to give background information on the relationship between her and George to detectives Chelsea Connolly and Scott Lowen. As the interview progresses, Sarah's lies will become evident. Her volatile relationship will unravel, and in time, Sarah's narcissistic traits will allow her to believe that she can bypass the police officers, only to unravel herself into a hole she cannot dig herself out of. And evidence that Sarah doesn't know these detectives already have against her will be revealed. From the offset, these detectives use a standard best interrogation practice. Also, with the suspect being trapped furthest away from the door and placed into the corner, this gives an increased sensation that that person feels trapped.
We were informed of some injuries that he has by the doctor. So So he had some injuries to his left shoulder. He had a cut near his lip. His mouth was a little
I haven't laid a hand on him.
Sarah becomes quick to interject with verbal deflections of guilt while raising her hands to demonstrate that she has nothing to do with it. Sarah, this kind of foreshadows the rest of the interview as she becomes willingly adamant that she has nothing to do or no involvement with George's death whatsoever.
I haven't laid a hand on him.
Okay. Like on the left side of his forehead, he had basically bruising, and on like his head and skull.
I have no idea.
As if something hit him.
I
consider
not
force
touched him.
trauma.
Oh no, you said you guys have been good. What's your definition?
I've been good. I don't think you all understand. He comes at me all the time. He comes at me. So it's either I flee or try to go upstairs and go to sleep. That's usually what it is. I don't know if you talked to Brian about any of that, but most of the time when I flee, I go over there. So
right, but you're saying that you guys have been good, and when I asked you yesterday, the last incident that you could remember was the curtain rod incident, which you said was a month ago. So
give or take.
Right. So what do you mean by he comes after you?
He gets belligerently drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if you all have looked through my phone yet and seen any of the pictures and the videos that I have taken.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, I started documenting everything.
Okay.
So you all will see in my pictures, bloody fingers, split foreheads, he split my nose. I've got this.
Right.
I don't know if Brian told you about it, where I had to have I had one really bad surgery, but then it got really, 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 really bad, where I had to go like 4 or 5 more times afterwards for them to tend to it. From him poking me in the back of the leg.
Right.
So it's...
Then why are you still with him?
Everybody asks me that. When I tell you guys this, I really love him. Like I do. And I feel like I can help him. Like I feel like I could help him, which I did, because he came a really long way from where he was in Philadelphia to moving back to here and to dealing with everything else that he's been dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
I've really helped him. I've bailed him out of jail, 3 times. I've gone to every single hearing and every single arraignment, everything that I did for him. Gone to see all his public defenders, go to the state. I've gone to the state. I did everything for him because I'm trying to help him, because I had hope in him.
When Sarah goes ahead to list everything that she's done for George, she kind of gives off the impression that she's the one that's the saviour within this relationship. Sarah gives off the impression that without her being there for George's probation hearings, he wouldn't have been able to succeed. And this dynamic is consistent with how a narcissistic person exerts control within a relationship. One of the more dangerous evolutions of this belief is a narcissistic partner believing they have the right to dole out punishment. Because by this logic, if Sarah can adhere to George's successes, she feels like she's also entitled to discipline him for his failures.
And he was trying. He was really trying. And then he starts to think about things, and I think he gets overwhelmed. And then it's like, next thing I know, he's drinking. So it's like, oh man, I know where this is going to go. So I'm going to go upstairs and read a book, or I'm going to go for a bike ride, or I'm going to do something else. Where I don't want to drink. I don't want to drink. The occasional wine, whatever, or if it's a weekend, that's when you have a good time. You don't have to wake up the next day. I have to wake up the next day and do things. I have to tend to Lucas. I have to take him to school. I have all this stuff to do.
Throughout the interview as well, you'll notice how detectives try and give off the light-hearted impression to Sarah that everything's okay. This is basically to give off almost like a false sense of confidence in Sarah that she's not there for the murder of her partner, that she's just there to answer some questions. The problem for Sarah is with some of the things that she said about how she doesn't get drunk, how she doesn't like to get drunk, and how she can't get drunk will also be one of those factors that comes back later to haunt her again. Someone that's usually trapped up in their lies only has a one-way story of the lie. Once someone is able to poke holes into that story into a different avenue, it becomes really hard for the person to try and maintain that lie throughout. They'll try and backpedal and double down on the lie, but it only creates a bigger hole for them to try and climb out of later. Detectives will also use a weird technique where they'll ask the suspect multiple times random versions of the events, or they'll start at the very end of the story and try and backpedal. This is because if a person has a lie, they have the lie from start to beginning, and they don't have it from halfway, quarter way to the end, or from the end backwards. This makes it harder for the person's mindset to try and decipher how to lie from here on out. This is also something for detectives to give a massive read on body language.
He doesn't know how to, maintain himself, where I can do 50 things at once and still know the 50 things more prior that I need to get done. He can't process like that. He didn't process like that. So he would not literally, but have smoke coming out of his ears. So the next thing you know, he doesn't want to deal with it. I'm going to go get something to drink. So the majority of the time, I would hang out outside or do something else because I don't want to drink.
Yesterday, you made it sound like you guys were just drinking like a glass or two. Like, yeah, you obviously had the bottle, but you told me on recording, like, that you were not drunk, he was not drunk, you guys were having a good time. I
can't get drunk. Number one, I do not want to get drunk. I don't like being non-complimentous, having my wits about myself. I don't like feeling out of control. So
I'm just saying, you're making it sound like he's a raging alcoholic today, and yesterday I was kind of asking you those questions, and you're like a little defensive, like, no, we're not alcoholics.
I'm not.
We are not, you guys were both sober on Sunday, to your knowledge, because when I said you went and passed out, You were like, no, I didn't pass out. I just fell asleep. So now it's kind of like, what is it? Were you guys drinking and it got out of hand? And
no.
It got physical?
No.
Or is it...
Sunday was one of the better days that we have had in quite some time.
Throughout this interrogation, there is a multitude of different times that Sarah completely slips up on things that she's tried to say to get her past detectives. She was never drunk that night, then she was drunk that night. The video proves otherwise. Her recollection also of events is very specific, and that's because she has a certain narrative to persuade detectives with on her version of events, which are just complete lies.
Something to drink. Okay, I got my Dr. Pepper on the counter.
Okay, we'll take care of you. Give me 1 second. Let me fill this deputy in, okay?
Please, may I have my Dr. Pepper? I am so cotton mouth right now.
Give us a second, okay?
Somebody else on that call a break and
It's on the counter.
I can't remove anything from out of the house.
I'm so thirsty. Like, I'm
Here, I want you to sit down because I don't want you passing out. This is probably a lot for you to deal with, right? Sit. I don't
water. Just water.
I can get you some water, okay?
Sarah's body language is noticeable even to the most casual observer. The way that her tone goes high to low, in and out of pitch, the way that she has dry mouth, the way that she narcissistically asks for a bottle of Dr. Pepper throughout the first interview of that body cam while her partner is inside the home dead. It's also a crime scene or an investigation at that stage, therefore she can't just walk into the house and get her drink. She makes it mostly about herself rather than the fact that she's stressed out at what she's found that morning when she's meant to have woken up. Her story also just doesn't make sense from the outset. She tries to tell detectives that her and her partner got drunk. Sarah will later on tell detectives that she cannot get drunk. It's something that she can't do. She does not like to be out of control, therefore she doesn't spend a lot of her time getting drunk. She then says that her and her partner got very drunk that night and played hide and seek, and that's the reason why she fell asleep. But when questioned about the fact that she said that she can't get drunk, Sarah realises that she's starting to get caught up in these bullshit lies she's created.
I have not touched him. I have not touched him.
How would you get those injuries?
Tell me and we'll both know. I have not touched him. It was...
You said it was a good day, like, you guys didn't have any conversations about your relationship, you guys didn't go down, like, the rabbit hole, like, had too many to drink, and you guys start getting...
Nope. When I tell you this, it made me so happy that he actually listened to what I had to say.
Did you guys have a conversation about your relationship, or was it just about like
what's going on right now?
Got it.
I try to evoke it from him so he gets it off his chest, because I call him the volcano where eventually he's going to erupt.
Right.
And what he has learned in his classes is to communicate, which is a huge thing in a relationship.
Right.
Where he has been practicing communication. So he actually talks to me about things and unburdens himself. Put it on me. I'll sit there and try and figure it out for you. Like I have almost everything. Not a worry. Just tell me. Get it out of you. Nobody knew George better than I did. I say that I knew George better than himself. And I tried in every way, shape, and form. Ask everyone. I helped him. I took care of him. I miss him a lot.
I mean, is there any chance it got to be too much for you and you couldn't handle taking care of him? And
I never stopped. I never stopped. That's what I'm here for. I never stopped. I'm here now because I'm still trying to help him.
Yeah, we just don't, I mean, it's unexplainable how he got these injuries, and
I have no idea.
You were the only one with him.
100% right hand to God. I have no idea how he got them. Nobody touched anybody. Nobody touched anybody. I even went down and met his probation officer, which I say she's wonderful. That's one of my questions too I need to talk to you about. Hugged me and said how much she knows that I take care of him. She called me personally one time when George was at work, when he was work. 42-minute phone call. She and I just saying how grateful she is that George has me. And she knows how hard I'm working to help him, just as she is and just as the classes will. I'm just going to be upstairs maybe watching one of my shows or maybe reading a book. So, and then when that would happen, we really needed that. So what's for dinner? And then we would cook together and eat dinner and then crawl in the bed and watch a movie.
It's also worth throughout taking note of the honeymoon period that Sarah describes within a relationship. Abusive relationships often follow a cycle of building up and releasing tension. This is then followed by a peaceful phase that will make the conflict feel somewhat tolerable, even worthwhile. So a person with potentially codependent traits, such as George, may inwardly justify that dysfunctional relationship by telling themselves things could be worse. It's highly possible that George and Sarah were living within a dynamic of a narcissistic enmeshment. This characterizes a cycle of abuse and reconciliation.
So he doesn't know the password and he doesn't have the facial recognition.
No.
But he is the only other person that would use your phone, I'm assuming, other than...
Lucas.
Right. But Lucas wasn't there Sunday. Right. So, to your recollection, no videos on Sunday?
Not that I'm aware of.
So, I have something that I want to show you that we found, and it was from your phone.
Mm-hmm.
You see it?
No, I don't remember that.
For everything you've done to me. For everything you've done to me.
Your battery's about to die.
Shut it down.
I don't think you all understand who I am. Where,
Well, tell me.
I mean, I've always been a straight A student. I am an outstanding mother to my son. I excel at everything. I would not do that.
You wouldn't lock somebody in a suitcase?
Well, I didn't like completely lock it. I mean, I opened it with one finger. I left enough in there for him to get out. And I wasn't planning on going upstairs and going to sleep.
No, it was just the way you said it.
You guys are scaring me.
Why?
We just want you to watch this. It came from your phone. Don't you want to know what's on it?
Yes, please. Is it long? Because I don't know how much I can take. Do I have to watch this? I continuously throw up. I don't sleep. I don't want to see it, if that's okay.
Well, it's on your phone, and you can either explain it or we take it for what it is.
Yeah. We're just trying to give you the opportunity to tell us what's going on.
For everything you've done to me. Fuck you.
And that's you, your voice.
Stupid. That's my name. Don't wear it on. Yeah, that's when you do it. You shook me.
I don't want to watch it, please.
Last time we talked to you, you had said that you put him in the suitcase, he had two fingers hanging out.
And that's where it was.
And there's two different videos and a still picture where, yeah, it shows you flipping him in different positions and him saying that he can't breathe and you saying fuck
So
you.
this is upside down. So in order for him to have gotten into it,
It was flipped up.
right, it was flipped up normal.
Yes.
Like as if you're packing something. So this is upside down.
Guys, this is killing me right now.
So this image, it's upside down, and then this small video that occurred 11 minutes later, it's flipped over the other way.
Also from Sarah, notice the complete deflections throughout this whole thing. Oh, I don't remember that. Sarah thinks that when they're going to open that phone, everything that's recorded on there is from Sarah being abused by her partner. She'd actually for a while now, while they've been arguing, recording majority of it. I'm assuming that for a while she was pretty much recording their arguments to later on play this back to detectives after he was found passed away. So this to me would assume some sort of premeditation to the fact that at some point Sarah was planning on taking this poor individual's life, she just didn't know where or when. Because she was stacking up information to show detectives that she was the innocent person within this relationship. Unlucky for her though, maybe she was drunk that night, because she forgot that the main recording that was on her phone detectives would be interested in most was the one of which where George was inside of that suitcase, suffocating to death, as he begged Sarah for help. Sarah would also claim that she left enough room for George to escape. This is completely untrue. I mean, when detectives tell Sarah that she can either explain this video or they're going to take it for face value as what they're seeing, Sarah cannot help but play into detectives' hands. As for Sarah, her desire to control the narrative is far too great. She would also go on to claim that she was never drunk the night that George died, but her obvious inebriation in that video puts Sarah in a vulnerable position. Here's the story that Sarah's trying to play out. Her and her partner got drunk, played hide and seek, she fell asleep, woke up in the morning, he'd somehow shuffled that suitcase, fallen down a flight of stairs, and he was dead from suffocation. All the thing that you have at face value. Sarah and George have a hostile and volatile relationship. This is obviously a very abusive, volatile and narcissistic relationship between the both of them. There's obviously been an amount of tension that's been rising for them both, except for Sarah, it's got to a point of no return. She decided to come up with a small plan. She'd somehow got him to get in the suitcase, maybe it was a game of hide and seek or whatever she'd done, she'd somehow managed to get George to go inside the suitcase. She'd then zipped it up and pretty much just watched George die. The idea from here on out for Sarah would be that this was just an accident. This was something that was never meant to have happened. The only problem is the evidence would suggest otherwise. Sarah claims not to have been drunk that night, but don't forget, she completely forgot to delete the video footage of her literally murdering her partner or watching him die.
Oh, that's what you did.
Yeah.
But not intentional.
No, you told me you went upstairs because you were
Stop
getting
here.
ready for bed.
Stopped here.
Okay, but
Where's here?
show me where you can see any fingers coming out, because there's the end.
And his head's right here.
Mm-hmm.
So going like this, rather than going all the way up, it's like this.
But why is he saying I can't breathe, and why is he pushing on it as if he can't get out?
And it doesn't show a hole.
There's no hole. There's no fingers. I don't see his fingers. There's no hole.
I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like, I don't know, like, what you want me to tell you.
He's begging for you to let him out. You're laughing in the beginning, and then in the end, it sounds kind of like a...
No, not malicious.
Well, saying fuck you.
It's not malicious.
Then what is that?
What does fuck you mean to you?
Well...
Like if I were to tell my
like
partner...
he does. Like, I get told everything but a white woman, so...
Okay.
My intention was not to leave him in there. Please understand that. My intention was not to leave him in there.
But you went upstairs thinking that he could get himself out, but the video shows at no point can I see his fingers.
He'll be up here any minute.
And then 30 minutes later, he didn't show.
And he's telling you.
And I didn't wake up.
Do you think he's joking? You told me he was laughing, and
we were before.
The video, there's no laughing.
When we first got in there, both of us were.
So how long was he in there for? Like, this video is at 11:12 when it starts, so was he in there for like a long time prior to recording this?
No.
So it goes from funny to no longer funny, but you're the only one laughing.
But I didn't think that he was, like, panicky. Like,
So pushing up on a suitcase saying, Sarah, 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 I can't breathe.
George has done that in the past before, too, where it's just, like, he thinks that he's woe is me kind of thing, where it's like,
He's never been locked in a suitcase. That's where he couldn't get out. So
it's kind of... I thought it was
the oxygen
crying wolf kind of thing.
Okay.
And again, my plan...
But nowhere in there is he laughing, is he joking. He is begging. And you're the only one laughing.
Okay.
And you're the only one saying derogatory comments. Like you're mad.
No, please don't. I don't mean to sound negative, and I don't know if I can say this, but like it's like you guys are kind of trying to like feed me. Like
no, I'm just trying to show you a video that you no longer want to watch because you probably don't want to know the outcome of how and what you said.
Well, I know what
you know what's on that video now.
No,
you remember making that video?
No.
Why don't you remember making the video?
Probably because we had been drinking.
But you weren't drunk.
No, just because I went upstairs and just because you're drunk doesn't mean that you.
Times that you were not drunk. You said that you had your wits about you. You said he had his wits about you.
Mm-hmm.
You said that you don't like not having your wits. What do you think is going to happen if you leave somebody in a confined space like that?
Well, I thought by not zipping it up all the way, it would be okay. My plan was not to leave him in the suitcase.
What was your plan?
Waiting for him to come upstairs.
And then when he did it?
I fell asleep.
You said you were up there 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, somebody not coming up.
Knowing that the last time you saw him was in the suitcase, 30 minutes later, you're like, maybe I should go check on him? Maybe I shouldn't?
No.
But that didn't cross your mind.
That's like an assumption. Like, that's what you all are thinking. It's the whole, it's the drinking. That's what it is. It's the drinking. I thought he was okay. Like, I didn't, he's
telling you he's not. He's telling you, Sarah, I can't breathe. He's saying your name and you're like, that's my name, don't wear it out.
Guys, that's how we are with each other. Like, nobody understands our relationship. This whole suitcase thing never happened before.
Would you leave someone else in a suitcase? Would you leave Lucas in a suitcase jokingly? Because it was a joking matter. You put him in there jokingly. Would you leave Lucas jokingly in there? And you love Lucas, right? And you love
I wouldn't
George.
do that to him either. I wouldn't do that to him.
So I just...
Well, it's not like, again, I don't think you all understand. Like, that was not my intention.
Well,
y'all don't have any idea what I've done for him.
But by your acts, and that's exactly right. You get to the point where you've done so much for somebody and they don't show you any appreciation.
He did.
If you weren't intoxicated, then why would you ever leave somebody in a suitcase that's begging to get out, that's telling you they can't breathe?
If I hadn't been drinking, you still think it would be the same thing? Where it's like, hop in, I'm going to go to sleep. Is that what you all are trying to do? To portray me as?
We're not trying to do anything. I'm simply asking you to explain to me what happened.
Everything was fine and dandy.
Everything fine and dandy.
Was fine and dandy. You all don't, okay, for me to tell you this, again, mind you, I've been without him for a day now. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you all want me to tell you because this was not in any way, shape, or form. Hand on the Bible, intentional.
Okay, so you just left
I didn't kill him.
You left him there to teach him a lesson?
I didn't mean to leave him there. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
You got up and walked away. How is that not intentionally leaving him there?
Because I'm looking at the hole, knowing that it's there. He'll get out no harm. Because you don't.
And then he doesn't. But you don't go check on him. You say you're up for 30 minutes and he doesn't come up. You don't go down and check on him?
I'm in the bed.
You even move.
And off.
You admit to moving the suitcase, like, over. So
you
roll it over. Like, it's not like.
I didn't want him to be like that.
You didn't want him to be upside down? How do you even get upside down?
Right. You guys are killing me right now.
Sarah cannot provide a reasonable answer to the detective's question, so instead, she responds antagonistically, raising her voice in an attempt to verbally overpower her interrogator. This reaction is how a covert narcissist can behave during a narcissistic collapse, which occurs when the person feels trapped or humiliated. It's also notable that Sarah's focus is momentarily fractured when the detective decides to play this clip one more time. This actually has Sarah completely lose train of thought, disrupts her momentarily, and goes back to her default defense mode, which is just Sarah pretty much saying to detectives, I don't know what you want me to say. In one of Sarah's most incriminating slip-ups, she reveals her most frequent rationalization behind George's death being unintentional.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if you saw where the hole was. I don't know.
I didn't see a hole.
No one
I didn't see no fingers
You're the
sticking
only
out.
one that's what I'm saying. Like, he's in one position, and where his head would be, we should be able to see fingers. And then when it's flipped over onto this right side, again, his head is closer to us facing the video, so we should be able to see fingers. And we don't see anything. We see no movement of him trying to unzip it or physically unzipping it. All we see is pushing up, trying to push out of it.
Please do not assume.
I'm not assuming. I haven't assumed anything. I follow evidence.
I was trying to do CPR. I had to get him out and try to do CPR. And it was continually doing CPR with the dispatch on the phone, where he had me count out loud to help me focus on what I was doing.
I don't know how. I mean, you can sit here all day long and say, I thought he was going to get himself out, but that he didn't, and you went upstairs and you stayed there for 30 minutes before you fell asleep.
But can I say too,
you chose not to ever at any point during that 30 minutes walk back down and check on him.
No, wait 1 second. Because I know, with you all, and then, because you continually ask me, time frames, where I told you, I don't bother even looking at the clock most of the time. So it's a guesstimate. So for all I know, maybe it was 10 minutes.
But the point is, you left the living room where he was begging for help and went upstairs. Regardless of how long you were there, you left. You say,
I thought he was the boy calling wolf. Again.
Okay.
So when he asked to be let out, what's your reasoning for not letting him out?
When I was upstairs?
No, when he's asking on the video. He asked multiple times. He asked to be let out. I can't breathe. Why didn't you let him out?
Well, number one, I had no idea it was going to end like that.
Right.
Number one.
Okay.
Number two, just, you know what? I'll give you 5 minutes or so in there. I'll give you 5 minutes or so.
So Sarah goes on to make the remark that George could have escaped this suitcase prison, which was completely untrue. While Sarah then goes on to reiterate her stance that George's death was unintentional, even though she's still arrested at the end. I mean, the irony in the fact that after locking up George inside of a suitcase until his death, the same was about to be done to Sarah 48 hours later. I mean, as of now, it would be pretty clear that the prosecution process is going to be as frustratingly circular as that interrogation. Sarah's trial has currently been rescheduled 4 times and she's currently on her 6th attorney. Letters sent by Sarah to the court provide a glimpse into how she's able to present herself as competent and rational when the need arises. And so far, she's actually without challenge. When discussing her difficulty in communicating with her attorney, Sarah ponders if she's actually being penalised for wanting to be fully involved into the investigation of her case. And intelligent enough to know how her case is actually being handled, Sarah's trial date is now set for April 10th, 2023, after having to be rescheduled 3 times already. And the most recent delay was likely caused by her lawyer, petitioning the court to be removed from this case. While it seems that both George and Sarah were entangled in violent behaviour throughout their relationship, it would unfortunately be George that passed away on the night of February 23rd, 2020, at only 42 years of age.